Welcome to the video. It's Thursday, May 21st, 5:45 in the morning, and I'm gonna go get a workout in with my friend. My gym doesn't open until June 1st, so I'm using my brother's pass, and hopefully my hat and a mask will get me through. Thank you. So I'm supposed to work out with my friend G. He hasn't responded to any of my texts, so let's find out if he's awake. Morning sunshine. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about my real estate journey so far, mostly about the process of getting my license. But real quick, I don't think I mentioned this in the last video, but just a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Caesar. I live in San Antonio, Texas. I'm 25 years old. I'm married to a beautiful woman named Susie, and we have a 1.5-year-old son who's named after me, Caesar, but his middle name's Enzo, and we call him Enzo. Me and my wife have been together since we were 16 years old. We after we graduated, we didn't wait long to get married either. We got married at 20, so we're going on 5 years of marriage. I'm very driven, and my wife and my son are a big reason for that. So when I decided to get my real estate license, it was the middle of March, and I was lucky enough to already have my own little business where I was able to take the time off to knock those classes out pretty quick. I started in the middle of March, and I had everything planned out. I had one class a week. I think it was a total of 6 classes, one class a week, and I was going to finish around the end of April. And everything was going pretty smoothly. I got to my second to last class, and they mentioned that you're not supposed to send out the information to the state to take your exam until you finish all 6 classes. But again, me being very a little impatient and eager, I sent all my information out after that 5th class. And the following week, as I should already know, nothing ever goes as planned. My last class got canceled because of COVID. So I had sent my stuff out, my application, and after that 6th class, they give you certificates, and you're supposed to collect them after each class. And with that application, you're supposed to send all 6 of those certificates, but I hadn't taken that last class, so I thought I was screwed, and I thought it was maybe gonna put a hold on my application. But I lucked out. I was able to take that last class online, and after you submit all your certificates, it's about a month before you get approved to take your test. But since I had already sent out the application, as soon as I got that 6th certificate, I sent them out, and I was thinking I was gonna have to wait a whole month to get approved for my test. But since I had already sent it out, I think it was like 2-3 days, I got a letter saying I was approved to take my test. So all excited, I went online, try to find the earliest test as possible. But again, because of COVID, everything was closed, and the earliest test was, I believe, the end of July. Even though I could have looked at it as like, okay, well, let me take this time to study, I was looking at it as like, okay, I just got thrown all this information, and I don't want to forget it by the end of July. So every day I was checking to see if there was any new tests. I was able to find a test in McAllen, Texas, which is about a 3.5-hour drive from San Antonio. So I said, screw it. I got my wife and my son. We got an Airbnb for the night, and I scheduled my test for April 22nd, which was about 2 weeks after my last. You have to take this or they recommend you take a prep class. So I scheduled a prep class, and then 2 weeks later I was taking that test. I probably was not ready for that test, but again, I was just really eager and just really determined to get this done. We got that Airbnb, and we took the drive down to McAllen, Texas. Went in, and I'll just make a really long story short. About an hour into the test, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna pass this test. It was pretty difficult. So when I got to the end of it, I should have checked it. They always say go once you're done with the test, go back and look through it again, make sure you know the answers. But I was just so frustrated with that second part that I said whatever. I said screw it. Whatever I know. Whatever I don't. So I submitted it. And you jump right after you submit that first exam, you jump right into the second exam. And again, I was just so bummed out that that second part was pretty tough. I didn't know if I passed it, but now I got to take another test, and which was the harder test. I wish I could have took that one first, but that wasn't an option. Took that second test, and it was pretty difficult. But at this point, I was already like, man, I already failed this test. I already failed the first one. I'm probably gonna fail this second one. I wasted all this time coming down to, I drove 3.5 hours to take this test, and it's just a waste of my time. So I did the best I could on that second test, turned it in, and walked out disappointed. When I got my when I exited, they give you the papers saying if you passed or not, and they gave you 2 sheets. One was for the national, one was for the state. And yeah, I did. I passed. So this is what happened. I passed the state exam, which again is the difficult one, and I failed the national one. But again, I wasn't surprised that I failed. So I didn't really look at it until I got into the car with my wife. I started to read over, what it said or what I got to do now since I failed. And I failed it by 1 point. And that just made everything like 1,000 times worse. So at the time, it's like the end of the world for me. I was like, man, I took all this time. I had spent some money getting that Airbnb, driving down there. It cost money to take the test. And I was disappointed. I did feel like it was the end of the world. I was like, there's no way I'm going to pass this test. Just a lot of negative thoughts were running through my head. On that drive, talking to my wife about it, we started to, after a good amount of time, driving, I was able to just kind of calm down, and then we started talking about the positives that came out of it. One of the positives and a big one was I passed the hardest part of the test, which a lot of people, struggle with. I passed it, so that was one good thing that came out of it. I did kind of, again, rush to take that test because I wanted to just knock it out. And another thing is I just got to spend some time with my family. Because of the quarantine and COVID, my wife and my son and myself were just stuck in our small apartment. So it was good to, to be able to go on a drive, spend time, in an Airbnb and just relax there for a night. So that was another positive. So again, eager me I hopped right back on and said, hey, when's the next test? When can I get another shot at this? And there was a test the very next day in McAllen, Texas, and we were already driving back home. So I said, well, screw it, let's get another Airbnb and I'll study, because I failed it by 1 point. So if I would have just went back and reviewed the questions, I probably could have passed. When I was trying to schedule it, it had a 24-hour notice, so it didn't let me. Which, looking back, again, it's probably a good thing. I was able to find one 2 weeks later in San Antonio, so I didn't want to wait 2 weeks, but at the same time, it was probably good for me. I was able to study, get to know the information a little bit more. So the 2 weeks passed, studied, took the test on May 1st, which was on a Friday, and during the test it lets you mark, questions that you're not sure of, and then at the end you can go back. So I marked off about 10 questions. It was like 10, 15 questions. I went back, just went through them, and I changed 2 of them. I know they say not to change them. I just felt like, the right answer was the one I didn't choose at first. So submitted it, did that walk to the front desk where they give you a paper, and he just said, I would expect them, if it said pass, to say, hey, congratulations, but he just said, all right, have a good day. And I was like, oh damn, I didn't fail. I mean, I didn't pass. So I didn't open it until I got to the elevator, opened it up, and passed. Yeah, so 2 weeks before, I thought it was the end of the world and I was never gonna pass this test. So at the time when I failed, I was just thinking of all the negatives. But I was talking to my wife. We and after my mind was clear, you got to look at the positives and see what you can do, what you can control, what you can't control. I couldn't control that there was a 24-hour notice. I couldn't control that there was no options, in San Antonio at the time. So now looking at it, today's again May 21st. I have my license. I'm already with the broker, and everything worked out. Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, Caesar, that's a dope setup,
Dude, it's my buddies. I'm at my buddy's house, so.
Really?
Yeah, he has a podcast. What's up?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It looked like a podcast room.
Yeah, so I figured I was shooting some footage. We went to the gym this morning. I was like, I'm gonna stay for a little longer and shoot some footage here. All right, so what you saw there was a weekly group call that I help out with for people who are, struggling with anxiety or going through the same thing that I went through. And, I was honored that the guy who helped me get out of anxiety asked me to help, to join the program that he created. That's an awesome program. He asked me to help coach and help out, help out with all the other individuals who are struggling with anxiety. And at first I was really I was honored first, but I was scared too, because I was like, man, like I don't know if I can help these guys out, because at the time I was kind of still having some lingering anxiety and I wasn't too sure if I could do it. But he said, no, you're in the perfect situation to help these guys out, because you just got out of it, and they can relate to you a little bit better than maybe they can to him, because he had struggled with it as well, but it had been it's been a couple years since he was in it. It's pretty cool that I'm able to do that and help him out with it. But I'm on my way to go pick up my wife. It's about to be 12. It's about to be noon, and probably get some lunch with her. So I ended up eating with my wife and Gilbert, and after that, I got pretty busy. By the time I got home, it was already 6 o'clock, which was the time for my next call with the anxiety group. And that went well. It just finished. It's about 8 o'clock right now. Overall, pretty productive day. I did get news that from my loan officer that it won't be until early next week. He'll have a better answer for me on what the next steps are going to be. So it's a good thing that I'm going through the process of looking for a house for myself. That way I can kind of see what my clients are going to go through, because this is my first house. I've never owned a house. This will be my first. So it's a good thing. Can kind of see what kind of things to look out for through my experience. And if anybody has any questions about the whole process about getting your real estate license, go ahead and leave a comment, and maybe I can go a little bit more, can elaborate more on my experience, because it was really, really fast for me. I took my first class in the middle of March and had my license by May 1st, which probably would have been sooner, but everything that happened with Corona shut everything off and kind of pushed back a couple weeks. So, it was a fun experience, stressful. I thought that once I had the license, it was going to be smooth sailing from there, but it doesn't look like that. Looks like there's a lot more work to do, and I'm excited for it. So, again, anyone looking for a house, as much as I would love to jump straight into selling a house to someone or selling a house for someone, I should probably get the proper training first, and I am really gonna make sure I know what I'm doing before I start pushing anything. So I'm happy that my first client is myself and my wife, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm happy to bring you guys along. Oh, and if there's anyone out there struggling with anxiety, leave a comment, message me on here, message me on Instagram, and I'll point you in the right direction to get some help. Anxiety is very confusing, and it's very complex and strange, and you don't know what's going on with you. But once you get the knowledge and you understand what's going on with you, from there everything becomes more clear, and the road to getting back to who you were is very reachable and very, not simple, but possible. So that's the video. Hopefully I get some good footage this weekend so I can have another video by Monday. Well, but y'all have a good weekend. Talk to y'all soon.